For that report, Ann's being asked to move her location. Obviously, firefighters and police officers are frantically trying to help those people who have been hurt, who perhaps have not been rescued, or perhaps to retrieve even bodies as a result of this.
So many people in this country obviously in a state of shock over what's happened in several locations, but at times like this you do find people who try to rally to do what they can at St. Vincent's Hospital, which is just south of the World Trade Center, where they've taken a lot of the wounded, 184 patients in total, 10 critical. There are lines now of people who are showing up to donate blood, which is something
heartening in the face of this tragedy. Catherine Hughes is at Virginia Hospital Center, where many of the people who were hurt at the Pentagon, where yet another plane crashed early this morning, is here to tell us what the situation is. Is this the old Arlington Hospital, Catherine?
Yes, it is, Katie.
Can you tell us about the people you're seeing there?
We now have approximately 26 patients. We are expecting more. They're coming in at the moment. We have called in additional surgeons, nurses, and other staff members to help with this crisis. And we've seen basically a variety of medical issues coming in. We do have some in surgery at this time.
So tell me about the medical issues that these individuals are experiencing, Catherine, if you could.
As I said, there are a variety of medical issues, some severe and some not. We do have some cuts, burns, people coming in with shortness of breath. We took our first person at about 10:35 this morning, and they are coming from the Pentagon area.
Catherine, if you could give us an idea, is this the only area hospital that is treating people who are inside the Pentagon at the time of the crash, or have they been diverted to other hospitals as well?
I don't know that. I know that we have already seen 26, and we currently are receiving patients at this time.
A Navy Public Affairs spokesperson has confirmed, or apparently told a local station in Washington, that people have lost their lives inside the Pentagon. And you expect how many more patients, Catherine?
We're expecting patients. We don't know how many. We are just taking them. At this time.
All right. Catherine Hughes at Virginia Hospital Center, formerly known as Arlington Hospital. Catherine, thanks so much for talking with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Just to recap where the president was when this occurred, just before 9 o'clock this morning, he was taking part in an education event near Longboat Key, Florida. He was actually, we understand, reading to students down there when he first got word of the first plane crashing into the World Trade Center, and then he was given word that a second plane had crashed into the other tower. He did have a chance to make some comments before heading out of Florida, and here's a sample of what he had to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a difficult moment for America. I unfortunately will be going back to Washington after my remarks. Secretary Rod Page and Lieutenant Governor will take the podium and discuss education. I do want to thank the folks here at Booker Elementary School for their hospitality. Today we've had a national tragedy. Two airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country. I have spoken to the Vice President, to the Governor of New York, to the Director of the FBI, and have ordered that the full resources of the federal government go to help the victims and their families, and to conduct a full-scale investigation to hunt down and to find those folks who committed this act. Terrorism against our nation will not stand. And now, if you join me in a moment of silence.
I want to mention that President Bush is said to have made a couple of other comments. He said that freedom itself was attacked, freedom will be protected, and that the U.S. will hunt down and punish those responsible. Go ahead.
He also said that the U.S. military was on high alert at home and abroad.
Just to update you on the situation, we told you that there had been several international flights en route to the United States. The original plan from the FAA was to divert those to Canada. We now understand that they will be allowed to land in the U.S. The FAA is not saying why they're not going forward with their original plans to divert to Canada, and we don't have any information on the points of origin or the destinations of those 22 planes. NBC's Campbell Brown is standing by in Washington. Campbell?
Well, Matt, what we can tell you is that we do know the president now is at the Barksdale Air Force Base. That's in Shreveport, Louisiana, northern Louisiana. He flew there from Florida, where he was this morning. And it was interesting because in those early minutes, shortly after Air Force One took off from Florida, no one was told within the White House press corps where the president was, where he was going. Our information now is coming from what we call the travel pool. It is one network reporter who is on board the plane with the president. He did make a brief statement. We're waiting to get more on what he said when they landed at Barksdale Air Force Base. We're not sure whether or not he's going to stay there or that they will take the president. There's a bunker in Colorado Springs that the military runs. Another option, this is an aircraft. But it is a possibility they need that. Of course, the president, when he was in Florida and initially made those remarks you played a moment ago, he did say he was coming back from Washington, but obviously now they're reevaluating the situation to try to figure out where it may be best for him to operate from. There are a few officials still at the White House now. His national security advisor, Condoleezza Rice, and other key officials are in the White House. We're told they're operating out of the Situation Room, and that a few areas of the White House have been designated as so-called hard rooms, meaning special Secret Service agents are there guarding the few key people who are needed to stay at the White House. The rest of the White House has been evacuated. But the president is obviously in close contact with his national security team, who is remaining there for the time being. He was informed of this while he was in Florida at an education event this morning of the first incident when the first plane flew into the World Trade Center. He was told by phone by his national security advisor, Condoleezza Rice, while he was in a holding room, while he was about to go out and speak to some elementary school children. Then while he was actually reading to these students, a note was passed him from his chief of staff, Andy Card. In the pictures, you can see the reaction on the president's face, as shocked as the rest of us at what had happened. And his plans immediately changed, initially to come back to Washington, but now, again, the Barksdale Air Force Base in Shreveport, Louisiana, and we'll be waiting further word on where he will sort of command the military operations, given the situation. Matt?
All right, Campbell, thank you very much. Katie?
Meanwhile, Matt, Cardinal Egan of the New York Archdiocese is joining us now. He has been outside St. Vincent's Hospital here in Manhattan delivering last rites to some of the people who have been brought to that hospital. Your Eminence, thank you for talking with us. Can you tell us or describe the scene for us, if you could?
Well, I've been here since the very beginning. We have 184 patients here at St. Vincent's Hospital in Lower Manhattan. 10 are critical, and 6 are of the police department or the fire department. So far, 2 have passed away. The situation has been that the doctors and the nurses are waiting outside here. The hospital is completely mobilized, and we believe that we will be able to handle whomever they send. We understand that Bellevue Hospital and St. Vincent's Hospital are the 2 places where they'll be sending the most critically injured, and that they do have triage down closer to the 2 centers. I have to say this, that I've taken care of a lot of people spiritually, anointed a lot of people, and I've no limit to my admiration for what I've seen of the doctors, the nurses, and the staff, and the administration of St. Vincent's Hospital. And I'm told that that is what is to be found throughout this great city of New York. We're addressing this the way New Yorkers address things, with a prayer and with a total commitment to help everyone who is hurting, and especially to make it clear to families and others that we will be doing the very best we can for their loved ones. I have here Dr. Ackerman, if you'd like to speak to him.
Sure, that would be great.
Here he is right now.
Dr. Ackerman, are you an emergency physician there? Dr. Ackerman, it's Katie Couric. Thank you for talking with us.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about the situation there and how the patients are doing? I know that you have about 184 patients. Is that correct?
That's correct, Katie. And actually, the number is growing as the minutes go on. When the first ambulances came in, there were 10 or 11 people in each of them. Now that the triage centers are set up downtown, we're getting fewer patients at the moment, but we're getting the most critically injured. Severe burns, several heart attacks, multiple traumas, many broken bones. And probably what's most striking is that everyone that's coming is coming full of gray powder from the massive explosions that obviously took place. There are family centers set up here at the medical center. There's a special number that family members can call to try to find out if their loved one is here at St. Vincent's. That's area code 212-604-7285. And the New York City Police Department is working very closely with us. We're very grateful that His Eminence has been here to help us and our staff, and we continue to be prepared. I was here for the last major incident with the World Trade Center, and this, in my opinion, is many, many times worse.
Well, Dr. Ackerman, do you have enough people on staff to take care of the hundreds of people who are there already and the other people who may be arriving at your hospital?
We are very well staffed right now, Katie. We are a little bit concerned, though, about later in the day. People will obviously wear down the number of traumas that you can handle, that one can handle not only physically but psychologically, and so we're asking all of the people that call us at this point in time to please check with us around 5 or 6 o'clock this evening, because we fear we're going to need another shift of workers to handle the tragedy of this magnitude.
All right, and we heard that people were standing in line to donate blood, and of course that was heartening news for us to hear under the circumstances. Dr. Ackerman, thank you very much. I know you're very, very busy, so we'll let you get back to work.
Thank you.
Washington and the Pentagon, and we've forgotten somewhat to remind people that there was the crash of another plane, a fourth plane outside Pittsburgh. Bound to be staggering as the day progresses.
Aboard those airplanes alone, 266 people have lost their lives. That was confirmed by both United and American Airlines, and we are unclear, as Matt just said, about the perhaps thousands of people who have been killed and certainly injured as a result of what happened in New York City and outside Washington, D.C. at the Pentagon. With more, here's Tom.
This is an NBC News special report. Here is Tom Brokaw.
September 11th, the year 2001, a day unlike any other in the long course of American history, a terrorist act of war against this country. President Bush saying today that freedom has been attacked by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended. Not since Pearl Harbor was attacked on December 7, 1941, has this country undergone such a devastating and damaging attack. And it may not yet be over. We do know at this time that at least 4 targets have been attacked. The 2 Twin Trade Tower centers here in New York City, the Pentagon, and then another plane that was crashed deliberately into an area outside of Pittsburgh. That is the second plane hitting the Twin Trade Towers this morning, all of them hijacked airliners. Then these 2 colossal icons of the American capitalist system collapsed in lower Manhattan. The death toll at this hour is unknown, but it is expected to be, as Mayor Giuliani has said, horrendous. Shortly after those attacks on the Twin Trade Towers in New York City, at the Pentagon, in one of the outer rings, another hijacked airliner crashed into 2 areas there, killing an untold number of U.S. military personnel in Washington, D.C. A code red was put in effect in the nation's capital. The White House, State Department, CIA evacuated along with the Pentagon. House Speaker Dennis Hastert was evacuated to a secure area. President Bush, who was in Florida for an appearance for an education project, was evacuated to Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana, where we do expect to hear from him before too long. The United States is in effect in a national state of emergency. All domestic flights were grounded immediately. Most flights that were already in the air, we believe, will arrive safely at their destinations. The borders between the United States and Canada and the United States and Mexico have been closed. Transatlantic flights were diverted to Canada. U.S. military forces in this country and around the world have been put on the highest possible alert. Aircraft carriers were moved to waters off New York City as this scene played out in the nerve center of this country, lower Manhattan, the financial markets, an area that is home to literally hundreds of thousands of people. They are still dealing with the carnage in lower Manhattan. We want to go now to NBC's David Bloom, who is in Midtown Manhattan, overlooking all of this. As you can see there, communications have been severely interrupted. David?
Well, Tom, what we're looking at behind us more than 4 hours after the first explosion is the smoking hulk of the essentially vanished World Trade Center. As you've said, the essential question at this hour in New York City is how many people may have died in these attacks.